you. Um, one of the great things about spending time in America, 3 months on the road fighting for Trump, is that you see the overwhelming joy and positivity of our side, of the Trump side, and watching the vote come in and watching the terrific support for Trump, watching the states turn red. What was exactly what I saw when I was there on the ground. So now watching this election being stolen and watching people feel crestfallen is a heartbreaking thing to watch.
Katie, I want to get your take on, you probably heard the story that I led into your interview with, and that was the polls. These polls, they were worse than back in 16 when he was running against Hillary Clinton. I mean, they did everything but throw the man under the bus. Double-digit leads Biden had in red states like Texas and Florida, which, as I said in that story, we now know were totally off. Do you agree that these polls, and as we're going to call them, as the president, I think, rightfully so called them, suppression polls? I mean, there is a psychological effect when all you hear on every liberal lamestream media channel for months leading up and the day of the election telling you he can't win, he's going to lose, he's so far behind.
Yeah, a couple of things here. Number one, the media is complicit in all of this. The press, the polls are complicit in trying to bring down the president. Viewers need to ask themselves, why am I listening to news outlets that were so content to lie about my president? That's a key question. Number two, of course, when people are told these types of suppression polls, they do start to believe it. We've even had in the British press here people saying, well, if Biden is cheating, how come he's only winning by a fraction? Well, it's because there was no planned red wave at the extent that this red wave came. Even the fraud was not enough, really, to properly beat Trump. So I think that's an important point. And finally, really important, the media does not call an election. It doesn't matter if Fox News is calling Arizona. I hope the first thing the president does when he's re-elected is make the whole of the Fox News team and everyone behind camera eat Arizona dirt. Fox News need to eat Arizona dirt for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because the media does not call an election. That is something that is dealt with in Congress and in your great houses of power. It is not the media. The Lugan press, the lying press, as we call them, are complicit in trying to bring down a president. And the public need to take this into their own hands and stop giving them an audience. Stop listening to people that lie to you. We don't do it in real life. Why do we do it with our media?
Oh, we're going to get to that later in the show, too, about the media thinking they had the right to call it. You probably saw it, Katie, and we won't delve into it too much. But the New York Times literally put that tweet out there that they thought it was their right to call the election. That is not our job as journalists and TV hosts. But anyway, we won't digress into that. Let's talk about this corruption stuff. We have seen, and we've aired on this show now the last couple of days since the election, everything from folks walking out with bags of ballots and there's no security. They're not locked up. They're literally duffel bags. You've got people in polling stations crumpling up ballots, flipping them off. They won't let poll watchers from the GOP in several states, Michigan, definitely Pennsylvania. Now we're hearing maybe even Georgia and Arizona, Nevada. What's your take on this? I mean, there's no other word to call it but fraud.
Absolutely. And I think one of our jobs, my job as I see it as a respectful foreigner and an outsider, is to share those videos as far as we can. I'm on Parlay at KT Hopkins, the letters KT Hopkins. Secondly, I remember from my military days, I'm ex-military, being shouted at when I was in the army team because I didn't run through the line. I ran up to the line. And I say to all of our team, Trump supporters, patriots, even people that just believe in democracy, like the Georgia Democrat who's come out to support Trump because he sees the fraud as well. We have to run through this line. We have to fight through the line. We have to stand with Trump. We have to hold the line, and we have to remember that no one else gets to call this. So it doesn't matter how many people tell you that it's a Biden win. That is not the truth of this. We fight on. It's been a tough 4 years. Trump's leading the charge from the front, and our job, and I've got texts coming in from great patriots. They're jumping on planes to end up in Phoenix and join the fight. And that's what we need to do now. We need to hold the line, join the fight, keep our heads up. and keep sharing these frauds. Keep dialing in if you know about fraud. I think James O'Keefe and others are doing a terrific job of that. And the more that we can keep our little chins up when it's hard and keep our shoulders back and stay optimistic, that's the stuff we still need to bring. The joy of our side rallying together. We need to keep that going right through until the 20th of January and beyond.
Yeah, that's something that conservatives typically do well. We keep our composure. If we do lose, we suck it up, we grin and bear it, and we move on. But on this fight, I think that without the nastiness of what the left does, we need to stand up and fight. Obviously, through the courts, through our voices, not with violence in the streets like we saw from radical leftists in this country for the last 7 to 8 months. Katie, I want to end on this, not fear-mongering whatsoever, because that's what I accuse the left of doing, but maybe this will help folks get out there to continue to fight. What would you see if we see a Biden presidency for this nation?
We have to recognize that you cannot become like us. America cannot fall as we have fallen. It's the reason I joined your country, joined your fight, to warn of this. And that's the reason this is so important, because we have a lot more to lose than just an election. This is a fight for the soul of the nation. And if you think staying in your home, watching some more TV, staying warm and cozy matters more than the soul of your nation, you're wrong. Get out, join and support, be the brilliant rallying force that you were just before the election, and remember to lift each other up. This is not a time to look down at our navels. This is not a time for depression or going into ourselves. This is a time to really bring it, because our side is the joy, our side is the light, and our side is 4 more years. I believe 4 more years.
Thank you, Katie. Sorry we lost your signal there for a little bit. Katie Hopkins,
No problem.
with us from across the pond. Thank you so much for your insight, your opinion, and your fight. We do really, really appreciate it. You have a great day.
Thank you.
We will make America great again.